Sorry, what?
Yeah, awesome.
It's great.
Thanks, everybody. All the cameras ready? Great. Would you please just start with questions for Faf, followed by questions for KG? Otherwise, the floor's open.
Faf, congratulations. Obviously, historic moment. You spoke earlier about not being one for history and stats and that kind of thing. Can you tell what it means to be the first team to win since readmission?
Yeah, this means a lot to us. I mean, we did speak briefly about it this morning, that there's a nice opportunity for us to go down in the history books. But for me, this whole series is probably the best we've been right through a series. Every time we've been winning a lot of series, but there was little holes within where we could improve, and I felt this series was incredible the way we put it all together, especially after that last Test match. So, yeah, as a team, we're very proud, and we are proud of that record, as you mentioned, to be the first team to do that. Credit to everyone that played their part. Right through the Test series, you'll see a lot of guys at different stages put their hands up, so we can say that it was a collective team effort.
If you speak about maybe little holes, can you maybe just go into what it was that came together this time?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, I think from an opening combination point of view, the guys got us off to good starts pretty much on every game. I think it was the 500s this series. I know you have asked me a lot about hundreds in this series before. So to get 5 is incredible. You know, just bowling teams out every time. As I said in the post-match, 80 wickets to bowl a team out every single time. Even when I go back to Durban, when we were fielding every day, every day we're in the field, and we still managed to get 10 wickets in that inning. So our bowling unit was exceptional. All of them brilliant. And as a batting unit, this series, you know, even for most of this series, I was pretty quiet with the runs. There was a lot of guys that chipped in and scored runs. So we never felt as a unit that we were under pressure.
Ken, Dan, and then Khalid.
How much do you think the happenings in Durban galvanised the guys? Do you feel like the guys maybe took that personally and led to quite a big reaction?
I'd like to think we were extremely motivated before the series. I do think we were up for the challenge. But there was definitely a shift in mindset after that first test. Almost went from motivated to motivated/angry to try and turn it around, you know. So the guys were really pumped after that first game, and they were, for the first time, I could feel like all 11 guys was really looking forward to the next test match to try and make a play in the series. So that has been definitely a turning point for us mentally.
As captain, how important was it for you, though, to keep their focus on the field? Because it's easy for emotions just to, sort of run wild.
Yeah, no, it's very important. But I think that's something we deal with pretty well, our emotions in our team. I don't feel we emotionally immature. I think we handle ourselves in the right way. And even though there was times in the game where things would get a little bit heated, it was easy for me to make sure that we still on that safe. And as we all know, there was a lot of incidents throughout this series. But at the end of the day, after every day or every game, we would sit in the change room and I would sense that there was the calmness to our emotions. And we were really just focused on winning games of cricket.
So obviously the youngsters performed really well, KG and top of the wickets and Aiden. Besides them getting the most runs and most wickets, what impressed you the most about it?
No, it's quite ironic that this photo happened in Australia last time we sat together. So here we are again. But yeah, it's everyone, as I said, everyone stood up. For Aiden in his first Test big series. I remember coming out to bat with him in Durban, and there was a lot of chirp towards him about that he only scores runs against the small nations. So he's looking pretty good after this series. So he was one of the guys that impressed me since he started playing. I knew that he was special even before he came up against the quality of that Australia do have. Temba coming off a long injury layout, not doing well not scoring runs in the first test, and then coming back getting vital runs for us in the first innings. even Lungi, when he played in his test match there, he bowled beautifully for us. So I feel there's good depth to our squad now. We're losing a big player in Mornay, but I do feel that there is guys that can step up and fill that role. But yeah, your other part of your question was it's important in big series that your big players step up, and there's a lot of those moments. KG, turn it up. AB on his own won a test match in PE. Ash didn't score as many runs as he would like, but he was very, very solid for us. You know, he would be sitting there saying he would have loved to score more runs, same as me. But there was a calmness to every time that he batted. He created a partnership for us again. The biggest thing when you play against Australia is the fact that they've got so much firepower on their bowling. So if you can just withstand or withhold for a period of time, that pressure goes away, and that's when you can score runs again. So yeah, very, very happy captain here sitting that we've ticked all the boxes.
Just sounds good. Dan, Gerald,
Faf, it's almost difficult to believe that this test season started in Poch against Bangladesh. Like, so much has happened. Can you just explain the intensity of this season? Is it because you played against two of the biggest teams who believe they're the biggest teams in the world, or how do you sum up what's happening?
Yeah, it's definitely the hype and the intensity of big nations. No disrespect to Bangladesh, but we know India, England, Australia, those three nations, there's an intensity there that when you play against them that you need to be on top of your game. And especially I think this series, which was a lot different to all the other series, was all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes, and mentally it does chip away at you. As I said before, I felt that especially before this test, the team was mentally flat, and that was because there was a lot happening off the field, and I suppose it was new for some guys, just how draining test cricket really is. But the positive thing is that if we felt like that, then it would be much tougher in their dressing room because them as a team was going through more. So we were just pumped to try to put that energy and try and put it back into the cricket.
How do you reflect on, I suppose, contributing to bringing down an Australian team, not just in the sense of the margin of the victory, but they're talking about completely changing the way they play their game when everyone has known, I guess, the way Australia approached their cricket over the years, and you faced them in a lot of battles that way.
Yeah, no, I mean it was obviously this test match was had a different feel to it. There was not as competitiveness or stuff as the other test matches before it. It's something that I suppose we can only talk about in time, whether that will, how it will change and what sort of things will happen, how the performances will happen. So for me, I don't like to really comment on stuff that's not in own control. So their culture is something that they've spoke about that they would like to change. And that's good that they believe that if they said it, it means that it needs to change. So time will tell what sort of effect that will have in their dressing room.
With the declaration yesterday, obviously there was the bowler situation, guys were a bit tired. Was there a thought or an identifying moment from you guys of thinking we could make this a really, really big win and some kind of real sort of hard psychological blow for the future?
Yeah, we were definitely going to bowl again if we wrapped it up a little bit sooner. We said if we get I think it was 6 down. If we got the wickets within the first 2 hours, that we would definitely look to bowl again. Standing in the field, I felt that our bowlers were tired, and I could see the intensity of us dropping. And then Mornay got injured, and that is almost instantly tells you that your bowlers, that it's going to be a tough ask, that you need to make sure that the bowlers can rest a little bit, and obviously give Mornay a little bit of time to see if he can, whatever he can do, if there was something that he can do. And then they batted quite a bit longer anyway, so that made the decision easy not to follow on. And then with the bat yesterday, yeah, we were looking at the amount of overs left in the game. Worst case scenario, we didn't want to bowl. Find ourselves in a situation where I have to ask the seamers to bowl 3rd and 4th spells, expecting Kesh to bowl most of the day from one side. But in planning your overs, you have to work in how many spells overs will have to bowl. The bowlers have to bowl. So I don't want to have that workload too many overs on them. KG was, I could see that he was fatigued, and obviously as you saw today, he only bowled 3 overs. So you have to plan for worst case scenario, and you said beat them pretty big. I think 490 is pretty big.
Faf, can you just share with us how much is this group going to miss Mone, and also can you just share one or two fun local moments with him?
Yeah, Mone, we spoke about it now, but he deserves it. You can see how much it's meaning to him this. We've probably given him 5 or 6 send-offs this test match already, so it shows you how many times everyone's clapped when he walked on the field or off the field. So he's a really special guy, on and off the field, and he's just he, I suppose, epitomises what Protea Fire is all about. He lives for the team. He's an exceptional hard worker. He trains day in and day out. Young guys like KG would have learned a lot from, to see just how his work ethic, how well he works, and even with a side nickel to show the character that is required. For me, us as a test team, I ask a lot about character from the team, and you'll see a lot of instances through this series where guys would hurt or get something and they'll push through it, because that, I believe, is where you get very strong as a test team. And Morne proved that in this last test match, bowling with an injury, bowling at 60-70% and still wanting the ball. Today offering the option of, does he want to rest and rather make sure his side gets a bit of rest. He said to me, no, please, I'd like one more bowl. So that tells a lot about him as a character. Yeah, and there's too many stories to even think about. All I can tell you is that he will be missed within our dressing room.
The last 5 Tinas, Lawrence, Anna, Ken, Tristan.
Faf, did it feel to you that you guys were like on a different level in this series after the Indian series? I mean, everything just seemed to click, like you said. The bowlers contributed, the batsmen contributed, but also like the team culture and you guys, the way also you handled the tampering thing. You came out with a lot of humility and humanity. So can you just talk about it?
I think the Indian series, we were very good as well. I think what was different that series, that it was more bowler-friendly wickets. So the bowlers had a great series, and it was tough times for the batters. But even there's not as much emphasis on India because you're playing them at home. People don't give them the same amount of respect, but they are a very, very strong team. And for us to beat them in a series at home and the number 1 team was for us just as special as this one. And your second question about?
Yeah, the way everything just seemed to come together, and also
the culture, yeah. Yeah, I think our culture is the same no matter who we play. It's not about the opposition, it's about us. And we do spend a lot of time and energy making sure, if you can call it training your culture, but to make sure that we stay on it from a daily perspective. The stuff that falls out of line, we quickly nip it in the bud, because we don't want it to have a cancer effect where it spreads through the team and you start having a few bad things happen within the team. So we are very, very strong on that, and I believe that's our strength as a team. That we've spent so much time and energy that you will ask a lot of players and they will say that this culture and the Protea team is something that you have to be a part of to understand how special it is. So yeah, we take a lot of pride in it, and I think you have to for it to be such a, almost, if you can call it, a 12th man on the field. It's not always that your skills are going to be there, and you can't control to score hundreds or to get fifers, but you can control your culture.
Just to follow up on that, sorry, is it important? How important is it to you the way other people, other countries see the Protea as gentlemen or such?
No, very, very important, and that's part of our culture. We never want to seem arrogant, and I mean, obviously, sometimes you'll get things or situations that can look that way, but we as a team deal with it in the same manner, that we as much as we can would like to stay humble at all times. And you can see we've got 2 or 3 of the world's best players in our team, and you would never see them, or I can tell you there's never days where their egos will be any bigger than the team. The team will always come first, no matter what.
Faf, do you think this is the beginning of quite a few goodbyes? How do you manage that process to make sure that you don't sort of have 500 caps all come out at the same time?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. It's where I'm sitting, I think it's something that you can only decide in time. So, obviously there's been a lot of talk about 2019 and the World Cup and stuff like that, but, when I said it a year ago, it felt, it's moved quickly. It's a year away from the World Cup, so I think all of us are in a similar boat where we're just taking it series by series, and if the hunger is still there, or certainly from my perspective, if the hunger is still there, try and push it as long as I can.
Sorry, me?
You
Yes,
still have
sorry.
Sorry, Cyclops.
I'm not sure about last time. I don't know if you're looking at me or not. Faf, in this game, 9 partnerships of 50 or more, which is a South African record. Do you feel that, beyond the statistics, that this has been the most complete performance of the bat as a sort of unit?
Definitely, without a shadow of doubt. I did expect it in a way. As I said before this series, when you play against Australia, you can't ask for spicy wickets because their bowling attack is too good. It's a case of 2 very, very strong bowling attacks competing against each other, and then as a batting unit, hopefully the decks are good to score some runs. But I thought right through this series, the decks were really good, but there was a lot of challenges from their bowlers. The first 3 test matches was reverse swing, was incredible skill and pace we had to front up with. And this test match, there was a lot of seam movement. So the best thing about it for me is that we had 6 or 7 of our batters scoring hundreds at different times. Aiden scored 2, which was a remarkable effort for a youngster. But definitely, as a whole in a series, this is our most complete performance.